Peace to everybody. This story is about Van Dyke lawyer prosecutor recap key moments of trial over Laquon McDonald. And as you can see here in the picture is do believe Jason Van Dyke and a lawyer that were in the court, but not what you think it is. The opposing lawyers in the trial of Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke were in the same room Thursday, and for the first time, that room wasn't in the Cook County Criminal Court building. So now, for the first time, Jason Van Dyke and a lawyer were in the same room, but in a whole different courtroom. And it wasn't the Cook County this time. So where are they at? I don't know until we can go on and figure this out. Seated side by side in a narrow ballroom at the Union League Club in downtown Chicago, defense lawyer Dan Herbert and special prosecutor Joseph McMahon gamely fielded questions about key decisions in a historic trial before an audience of 36 members of the Lawyers Club in Chicago. So yeah, there was a big ballroom, I guess, or it's narrow, but it's at the Union League Club in downtown Chicago. They were questioning about the key decisions, and they're trying to find out what's what, and of course it's at the Lawyers Club of Chicago. Herbert defended the choice to put Van Dyke on the stand, a rare move for a criminal defendant, but one Herbert said he had known he would have to make the moment Van Dyke was charged. Van Dyke's at times defensive demeanor on the stand did not play well with jurors, Herbert conceded, but it still seemed essential that Van Dyke tell them why he fired 16 shots at Laquon McDonald. So the jury was not buying his story at all. Once Jason Van Dyke was on the stand, they didn't believe him. But Jason Van Dyke had to tell them why he fired 16 shots at Laquon McDonald. And of course, with the police report, he lied and said, well, Laquon McDonald was coming after him, and that was not true because the camera dashboard showed otherwise, and the camera does not lie about anything because Laquon McDonald was walking away as soon as he saw Jason Van Dyke. Laquon McDonald was going towards the right to get away from Jason Van Dyke, and Jason Van Dyke had shot 16 times at him for no reason at all. And of course, you got the 3 other officers that helped him covered it up. So, and I don't know why they get to walk away, and they shouldn't have walked away. So that's why Jason Van Dyke is sitting in jail while the 3 officers that lied on the police report also had walked. Some policemen or defendants in general had the ability to be charming and win over the jury. Jason never had that, Herbert said. That's not demeaning him in any way. He just doesn't have that ability. Well, yeah, of course he don't have an ability because you know what? Nobody's going to believe him. Once the jury made their mind up that he was lying and they charged him and found him guilty, that was it. He was going to jail. There was no way out of it. I mean, why should a jury believe an officer if Laquon McDonald did not do anything to Jason Van Dyke except just walk away towards a fence? That's what Laquon McDonald was doing, was walking to the right to go towards a fence to get away from him. McMahon said he and his team felt intense pressure to win a conviction in a case that outside the courtroom seemed to be more about race relations and police rules of engagement than the guilt of or innocence of a single man. Law enforcement agencies reached out to him in the weeks before the trial to discuss how McMahon and his fellow prosecutors would get out of the city safely in the event that Van Dyke was acquitted. Well, first of all, Van Dyke was not acquitted. He was found guilty. So how are you going to walk away from that one? You can't walk away. You're guilty. And of course, the agencies had reached out to him before the trial, and they always gotta stay in contact with their clients. And Jason and this Miss McMahon guy said that he felt and his team felt intense pressure to win a conviction, but that didn't happen because once the jury made up their mind, that was it. Here's this white prosecutor from the suburbs and a white police officer as a defendant. And if he's acquitted, are people going to say I did not bring my best effort? McMahon said. Well, I mean, why play the race card? This is really ridiculous. Who cares what color you are? It don't matter if you're black, white, purple, orange, yellow, whatever. Don't be playing the race card. It's ridiculous and stupid. Asked about pivotal moments, Herbert noted the first ruling after Judge Vincent Gone sworn in the jury when the judge ruled against a defense request to move the trial out of Cook County. Well, of course, that didn't happen because the judge said, no, we're going to hear this case and we're going to decide on what to do with him. So they listened to all the evidence, and of course, you know what happens. That was a death knell, Herbert said, noting an extensively argued motion, backed by a months-long survey of potential jurors he insisted showed that Cook County residents had already made up their mind about Van Dyke's guilt. Yeah, so they made up their minds. They said, no, we're going to find this man guilty. He killed Laquon McDonald. The cameras don't lie. And of course, I mean, this case has been going on for a long time until he finally got convicted of it. There was surely no way a person from a community in Chicago was going to be able to go back to their neighborhood with a not guilty, Herbert said. Nothing if he hadn't been Van Dyke's lawyer. I might tell them, worry about yourself, vote guilty. And that's what the jury did. They voted guilty. So, and of course, the judge had to agree with the jury because the judge was not going to put up with this. And I don't blame the judge one bit because, this is serious crime that Jason Van Dyke did. Asked if Gone had somehow pressured the defense into having a jury hear the case rather than a bench trial, Herbert said it was readily apparent that they'd have to opt for a jury. So, I mean, having a bench trial, that means giving up your rights to everything. That means no jury, no anybody. It's just a bench trial. But then if let's say, for example, that were to happen, then a judge would make him walk, and that wasn't happening. There was nothing untoward or improper by the court but a bench trial with a non-starter, he said. That was evident. Herbert also said he felt Gaughan's sentences for Van Dyke, a term that could see Van Dyke released from prison in fewer than 4 months, reflected the judge's clear understanding of state law that permits police officers to shoot suspects fleeing from many felony offenses, and an appraisal of Van Dyke's character. So, I mean, all right, so Jason Van Dyke is supposed to be getting out in 4 months. No, he's not, because he's due to be released in a couple of years or so. So he's got to stay there than I don't longer than what he's supposed to be doing. So I don't know why they're trying to get him out in fewer than 4 years. I'm sorry, I have to retract that. 4 years. Um, and of course the law permits police officers to shoot suspects fleeing from any felony offenses, and that was that. Van Dyke was not an individual that was acting out of malice. He was not acting that defendant at all. Defended from how he was trained, Herbert said. Well, Jason Van Dyke had no right to shoot Laquon McDonald, because as long as Laquon McDonald was walking in the opposite direction, Jason Van Dyke had no right firing 16 shots at him. It's just too much. I mean, it's overkilling him. And of course, family, friends of Laquan, yeah, they were upset and everything. And this case was backed up for years because you got other cases on top of cases. And then when you finally get to that one, it's like, what the heck is going on? This case has been, I don't know, up, down, twisted around, and everything else you could think of about it. And it's just too much. And so Jason Van Dyke is not going to go anywhere for a while. So once he's there, he's there. And the camera had proved otherwise what really happened, and you can't the camera can't lie to nobody, because once it's on there, it's on there. It's the end of the story right there. Leave your comments below. I am out.